So delighted to say that joining the show now ahead of Sunday Night Football as the Atlanta Falcons take on the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs live on talkSPORT is the place kicker for the Atlanta Falcons. Younghoe is with us. Younghoe, how are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you, very well. Really appreciate you taking the time to come out and join us. How's the mood in the camp after that last-minute win last weekend and going into this weekend?
Yeah, it's good. It's hard to win in this league. It's always good when we can get a win, and especially with this new team, to get the confidence rolling. It was big for us.
You're a guy who has hit a lot of game-winning kicks in your career in Atlanta, but what was it like having to line up for a 48-yard PAT at the end of that game?
It doesn't matter the distance, right? Like at the end of the day, you have to make that kick. So I'm just going out there, no matter the circumstance, just focusing on my process and making sure I do my job.
Well, with the way that the NFL is now, you say like it doesn't matter about the distance. I feel like the standard of kicking is so high compared to certainly when I first picked up the game. You know, it feels like nowadays the expectation is kickers to pretty much make every kick that they make. When did you realise that there was that level of expectation on place kickers nowadays?
I think it always has been a high standard. Just from our position, it's just you have to do your job every day, whether practice or a game. Try to stick around and making sure that you're doing your job so you're not hurting the team and you're helping the team. But I think it's credit to kickers across the board, just elevating the game and elevating the standard for all. So it's been a great competition just from afar, and it's been great for the game.
As a guy who came out and drafted initially, caught on in the NFL, but only kind of lasted through those first few months and then ended up kicking in the AAF, coming onto a practice squad and ended up not catching on for a couple of years. How have you seen the difference in standards since, say, 2017 up until now?
I think, kickers in 2017 when I first came out of college, those are pretty much the same kickers that are now peaking, that's in 6, 7, 8 years in the league now. I think the prime age for kickers is early 30s because you still have, good pop on your leg and you're still strong, yet you have this experience under you. So, I think the standard always has been there, but guys has been just making kicks that now the standard just, the expectation has gone up for sure.
Talk me through for you personally what your preparations are like in practice on game day, how you go through the motions to make sure that you do, when you do step up for that 48-yard PAT, you are feeling completely level and completely prepared.
Yeah, I don't know if you play golf, but I always make the analogy to golf. So during practice, I kind of treat it like a driving range, right? So you're working on different swing thoughts and different things, making sure you're dialing it in for Sunday. So working on those things during the week and making sure that all those things are dialed in and making sure like I have to do this, different conditions and whatever. And once comes Sunday, you're just so locked in on that process. Nothing else really matters.
I haven't been fortunate enough to see you kick practice specifically. It was always something I enjoy is watching the guys as they're getting ready and warming up for a game and seeing just how far back they'll try from. Because we see guys hit, 65, 70 plus yarders when there aren't a bunch of 6'7" linemen in front of you, right? What's your kind of distance? What's your kind of target when you're lining up to practice? And what do you think you could hit one from?
I think, at this level, I think everybody can hit 60-plus yard field goals. Everybody has that leg, but my mindset is, how do I make that thing go straight? So you can hit a big ball, you can hit it 70, 80 yards, but if it's not inside the uprights, it doesn't matter. So I'm just trying to dial it in. So how far can you go back without, really missing the kick? So for me, my mindset's a little bit different. My approach to the ball is a little bit different, a little bit narrower. I lose a little bit power that way, but it's still good. 60 and in, 61, 62, 63, I think it'll be fine. But realistically, in a game, like in a season, if you look at the stats, like how many times are you really kicking 63-yard field goals, right? It's a lot of the 30s and 40s inside the 50, and now I guess inside the 60. Those are the ones that you have to make.
Do you reckon that the record does get broken in the near future? Because we've already had it levelled this year, although it got scratched off when Brandon Aubrey hit it. Do you think it gets broken this year, if not next?
Yeah, I mean, guys are strong right now. Guys are hitting the ball really well. I think it's credit to not only the kickers but the full operation, right? So the snapper, the long snapper, and the holder, they're taking their craft seriously to make our jobs easier. So the operation is as clean as it can be, and I think all records are meant to be broken, and you know I think this year I definitely see it with the guys that we have in this league that are really excelling right now. I can definitely see it.
I don't know if you've ever had any time to spend with Morton Anderson, a legendary kicker, but obviously also a legendary Atlanta Falcon as well. I had some good time to sit down with him and really go through the mental side of his game as a guy who did it for so long. I'm really intrigued. You talked about your preparation and physical, but how do you prepare yourself kind of mentally? Do you have any exercises you do? Do you have anything you do to just make sure you are not going to be in any way peaking, having your adrenaline rush before you go out there and take a game winner?
Yeah, I think it all goes back to that preparation. So the confidence, I think confidence comes from preparation. So I'm just trying to make sure all my swing thoughts and everything's dialed in during the week. So then come Sunday or Monday, the game day, all you're thinking about is that process. So any external factors that come in, whether that be the stadium or the wind, whatever, it doesn't really matter because you're just so locked in on what you have to do.
I'm intrigued as well from your perspective. I was just listening to Mina Kimes' new podcast that she's done with Carl Hamilton this week, and she did a whole feature on a full Asian team in the NFL and put together a full 22 and special teams as well. How does it feel being one of what seems to be a growing population of Asian players in the NFL and representing Korea at a top level in a sport that Carl Hamilton talked about going back to Korea, that there just necessarily isn't that same level of knowledge about? What's it like for you being that representative of that culture, and how proud are you of that?
Yeah, I'm very proud of being able to represent where I'm coming from, where I was born. I think it's a testament to how well the league has done with growing the game. So we're able to have more Asian players or different ethnicity players coming in and coming into the league and playing well. I think it's really amazing to see when we go to like London games, Germany games, international games, just seeing the fans that we have there. It's really amazing to see how much the game is growing, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, I love to see the level of representation. I love to see how much people are being proud and speaking up about it as well. It's really fantastic to see. You do welcome the Chiefs into your building this weekend. Obviously, there's no sterner test than facing the supposed best team in football, as everyone sees it, in the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. So, how does preparation look in the Falcons building this week? How hyped are people for this massive occasion? And do you have to approach this game week differently from across the board in your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a level of intensity, but every week is NFL, so like every team is tough. But Kansas City Chiefs, they are the defending champs, two-time champs, and they are rolling right now, and they are the best in the league. So we talk about being world-class and want to be the best, and we got to beat the best. So we're trying to prep that way and try to be our best come game day.
A good buddy of mine's a Falcons fan here in the UK and was very excited when he heard that I was going to be on with you today. And his immediate reaction when I said, "Oh, I'm speaking with Younghoe Koo," was to just immediately, in my face, shout "Koo" at me. When was the first time you heard that? Did you know immediately it was your name? Because I think there's always that issue of, is it booing or am I getting my name chanted? Tell us a bit about how cool it is to have something like that attached to you.
Yeah, first time I heard it was in college. My first time I kicked at Georgia Southern. I heard that, but I didn't really, I was focused on my kick that I didn't really notice it. But my teammates let me know about it, and then now it has become a thing. It's really cool. But for me, like I said, like all those things that doesn't really, affect me because I'm so like locked in on my process. But at the same time, it becomes white noise, but home or away sounds like booing. So it's kind of the same game everywhere we go. So it's pretty cool.
So if you're in a road stadium and people are booing the kick, you can just imagine that they're shouting your name and you're just getting that love and support, right?
Exactly. It sounds the same, so I'm just going to roll with that.
Absolutely perfect. Look, I really appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us, Younghoe. Best of luck for this weekend at home against the Chiefs, and hopefully later in the season maybe we can resume these conversations as you're heading towards playoff time.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.